You gotta do the intro.
I would think of a rim. The intro?
That's not the intro. What's up and good afternoon, guys? Alex here with Hoppos. Vic banging away from Hoppos. We got this beautiful 59 in. We probably did this guy. Ooh. Did he say exactly how long we built this?
Can't remember. He told you.
I think he said 7 or 8 or 6 or 7 years ago. A long time ago we did this car. Beautiful, beautiful shape. It's still looking good. Immaculate. It's been sitting for a while, but I'm glad to see it back out, catching some sun rays. It's in here for some maintenance. We got some batteries put aside for it right here. Right there, we got some grays going in there. And just some minor touch-ups. Obviously over the time it's been sitting, battery's been bad. We also had, he has one of his shocks, unfortunately. This car wasn't an accident. Luckily he is rebuilding it, bringing it back to life, and it's looking great. But one of the shocks is broken up front, so we are going to fix that, re-weld that back in, get it sturdy back up, do inspection front to back, make sure everything's looking solid and sound for him to jump back in and be street worthy. It did come to us on a tow truck. It hasn't ran in 2 years, and she's still sexy though. I mean, 59 and 58, those two are my sucker years. And I love 59 in a hardtop too. A lot of guys are rag guys and convertible guys. 59 hardtop, one of the sexiest cars out there. Probably, if not the sexiest, next to the 58. That's my opinion though. Everyone has their own opinion. I'm just not a fan of 64, 62, 63. I mean, I like them, don't get me wrong. I love them. But if I'm going to pick me one, and obviously if they were laid out and you say, hey, you get to get one for free, I'm picking a 58. Second choice is 59. But anyway, I don't know if you guys see this, but I got anti-seize literally here, or grease. Looks like I got pooped on, man. Look at that. I mean, I'm glad he put anti-seize on here, or grease on there for the knockoffs, but I hate when this, it literally happens every single time, huh, Vic? Every time there's a ton of anti-seize or grease, it literally just, yep, I just put that back on there. I get it all over. And I think I just talked about this on one of the videos. I think on the last video, I said how I always end up with circles on my chest because I lean up against it. Well, here's a perfect example. Here we go. I got grease boobies right now. So what's a real, blah, 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 blah.
Again?
You hear that? Jeez. This is what we will be working on right now. Bent. It looks like it might be bent. Yeah, because if it broke it's bent. We might have to cut it. Just cut it right there down the center. Right, so this is what we're working with. We got a broke shock bracket up front. As you can tell, we got a real light turn coil up here with shocks and sway bar. And I know this thing, personally I rode in it, and this thing rides like a dream. We test drove this thing back when we did it, and I remember being like in shock and awe how smooth this thing rides. He is only running about a 1-ton coil up front with shocks and a stock sway bar, and this thing turns and drives like you wouldn't believe it. So don't fall for the misconception of people saying that hydraulics ride like crap, and you have no other choice. So we're gonna he's gonna cut this off right now. We're gonna try to save this bracket. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to kind of grind this up, clean it up, and then blend it back in, and definitely try to weld it from the backside. Get your glasses, Vic.
Safety first.
Safety first. You remember what you said last night? You gotta have the right tools for what you're gonna do.
Right.
So you guys see here is where the existing shock mount used to be. You know, obviously over time with the hydraulics and the shock, it did break it off. So we are gonna actually get this back on here. But the problem is, and the issue is, if you guys see this line right here, this is actually a fuel line. So we're trying to protect it before we do any type of grinding. We already removed the brackets that were holding it in place. That way we get a little more height out of it, give us some clearance, but we do have to grind away and use this existing bracket that came on the car. So we got to grind away, clean all this back up, and right now we're actually cleaning the bracket as well. That way we could made it back in here, weld it up, blend the welds, and do a final weld pass over. So we're gonna do like 2 or 3 passes over this. That way we don't have this issue right here. So that we're gonna try to get a weld in for the top side too. It's gonna be really tight and hard, but we're gonna try to get that from the back as well. So guys, we got the bracket. Got the first pass done on here. We're gonna grind it smooth cosmetically so it looks good. Then we're gonna come in with a secondary pass. But it is after 5:30 already, so we got Vic in the back draining out the air. We're gonna be closing up. We also me and him had a little powwow don't mind the lights on. We were testing something. We had a little powwow right now, trying to figure out where we're gonna get my lights on from C4 on my personal truck. I got 20 of the IED light pods. These guys are, I think, $24, $25 a piece. I got 20 of them here. And big shout out to C4 for taking care of me on these. But we are trying to figure out where I'm going to put these. And it's so funny because you just think it's a little light, you know, just put it underneath the truck, no big deal. But there's so much planning involved. I don't want any shadows on the bottom side of the truck. So there's so much planning involved. And then I had figured I was going to start it tonight. But after putting my first light up there and me and Vic were looking at it, it was casting some shadows. And of course, where I want to put the light pod or the rock light, where I want to put it, there's nowhere to put it. So what I want to do is instead of going and making a whole bunch of heavy duty brackets, I'm probably going to run to one of the hardware stores and buy some little 90L brackets, because these things are only, I don't know, I mean, you can see my thumb. It's probably only about 1.25 inches wide. So I get some really small, thin brackets. That way when I put these in, I can actually bend them at the angle I want. So I'm going to do that first before we start tearing down the truck and jumping into it, and then I can't leave because the truck's torn down. I'm going to go get the brackets first and then, kind of do that. Hey, can you not kick my truck? Yeah, thank you. You're going to hurt your toe tomorrow, watch. Tomorrow you're going to come in and be like, my toe hurts, I can't walk. So, yeah, that's the game plan, guys. Like I said, we were thinking I was going to get these lights on right now, but it's not going to happen. So we're going to end this video here for tonight. This video is still going to continue for yourself, but for me, we're going to end it. And you guys have a good night. See you tomorrow. All right, guys, so as you can see, we just got this backside all welded up right here. Oh, actually, sorry, I should say the front side. We did a single pass, as you saw in the earlier. We just came back, we cleaned it up, and we did a secondary pass over to make sure it's really strong. Now on the backside up here, we're gonna actually open the hood and weld it from the backside as well. But I just want to show you guys where we stand. Now I'm gonna put the gas line back in place here and cut the zip tie out of the way, put the shock back on. Now I'm gonna weld that backside. So that's gonna be the next step. And as you guys can see, we got our new toy in today. Actually, it came in Friday, but I wasn't here Friday, so I'm just seeing it for the first time right now. And Vic is obviously picking the easy job right now. He filters through the jobs and picks the easy ones. But we'll be jumping back on the 59 right now. I'm going to drop it back down, open the hood up. I don't know if you guys remember me mentioning he was in an accident, so the hood latch isn't in place yet because it's just getting redone and repainted and touched up. So I'm going to have to cut the zip tie for now, open it back up and re-zip tie it. So as we're going through, we just welded the backside right now as we're going through checking. My next step was going to start checking on the bolts, but you can clearly see these ones are a little loose here, just a little. So we're going to go through and do a full suspension check on everything. Everything that needs to be tightened, we're going to go ahead and tighten. Anything like this that needs to get rerouted, we're going to kind of reroute it out of the way real quick. That way it doesn't interfere and there's no issues here. So we're going to go through and, again, this car is older build. So over time, if it hasn't got rechecked, stuff loosens up. So we're going to go through and just check everything for him suspension-wise, make sure he's all good, sound, and make sure he's safe to get back on the road with him and his kids and his wife. And coming through, checking on the bottom side. Oh, wrong size. And go through, check the whole bottom side now. Get around this welding cord here. This one's 5/8, and I can clearly see this one's loose too. Yep, there we go. Probably about the only tight one there. And the back side, I'm going to get a wrench, but I can see this one's loose as well. See here. Yep. And this is why we do this, guys, to make sure everyone's safe. Go through, also check all the nuts, cotter pins, all that stuff, make sure everything's there. Just visually, whatever you see on suspension wise, that's good. Yeah, this one's super loose too. Check the front side. Oh, right to the front side, my bad. Check this on the back side. This one looks like it's somewhat tight. Yep, that one's actually tight. And check these real quick, make sure these are all tightened up. So now with the shocks all fixed in the front and everything, we're gonna pull this guy back because it doesn't run. Yeah, it's the fun part. So we're gonna get my workout. So after 6 or 7 years, don't know the exact date when we did this, still looking good. There's a few little leaks that he sprung over the years. You can see kind of some wetness going on the rack, but we're gonna go ahead and get all that taken care of. First things first though, I gotta get this car functional, going up and down. And if you can really kind of peek back there, if you can see it, batteries are tucked back there. So that's gonna be the fun part, getting everything out real quick, and then I'll swapping the new stuff in. Shoes off here. I want to get the car dirty. Got the new batteries. I'm just getting these lined up, ready to prep. Get the old ones out, new ones just come in. We just got the batteries in for the first time. This thing hasn't seen power, and I think he said over 2 years it's just been sitting. So let's see, I'm gonna put ground on, hopefully everything's good. Hopefully with the accident, nothing got jarred around. I don't know if it was working after the accident or not. So right now with the tap of the ground, it's gonna kind of determine how the wiring is too. So wish us luck, see what happens. Nice. Works. Did it catch a fire? I didn't know if it worked or not after the accident. So I was worried when I hit the ground right now. I was like, yeah, I didn't know if anything got pinched or moved or, you know, when you get an accident, a lot happens. So, yeah, this is something really nice. Completely different look when it's laid up. Oh, this hurts. Alright, so where we stand now is pretty much, we gotta check everything for leaks, but obviously I couldn't fix any of the leaks until we got the car functional, so that's why we did the batteries first. Now that the batteries are in, everything's working, and the car's going up, now you can see there's, and it's really not big leaks, it's just kind of like over time when it pressurizes. So we're just gonna go ahead and put some new Teflon on the tank plug. We're gonna get everything a really good wipe down and check all the fittings, make sure they're tight. I got some soap and water here to get rid of the oil blotchiness. So we clean it all up, and then what we're gonna do is kind of scuff all these aluminum parts back up, because originally he wanted that nice aluminum finish look. So we're gonna get that look back by using just a piece of Scotch-Brite. So I just got me a microfiber, got me 11/16, some Teflon, a bottle of just Dawn dish soap and water, and a piece of Scotch-Brite, and that's pretty much how we're gonna clean this guy up. This one's, I mean, it doesn't look bad. Got a little pressure in there. It doesn't look bad at all. I mean, obviously you can see the Teflon after 6-7 years. You know, it just kind of gets wet. So we're just gonna take all this back off, clean it up, wipe everything off, and from there we should be good. I mean, back in the day, this was one of my favorite setups, and to this day, it's still one of my favorite setups. I don't know if you guys noticed the round blocks with the round whammy, round dumps with the round caps. This is one of the first cars that got one of the rounded bodies and rounded caps about 7 years ago. We're just gonna give everything a really good wipe up, and what we're gonna do is just pressurize everything after, because you don't know what's leaking until you wipe what's already there. Now I can see there's a little leak coming from this swivel right here, and that's probably just over time. It's probably never been tightened since we did it last. Adjust on this tubing. You can see this tubing's kind of off here. Oh yeah, see, the dumps just kind of moved, so I know that swivel's loose up there. These are all pretty tight. And he hasn't had no major leaks since he got it from us 6 years ago, just real small ones, so that's a good sign. Anyways, we're still gonna double check everything though. None of this stuff's even moving. A little loose. So it's that one. Yeah, pretty much everything was tight, which is a really good sign. Oh, that one back here. So just spray some soap and water on everything. Get rid of some of these oil stains. It's not a lot of soap, it's just literally a few drops mixed in with water, just to kind of pull the grease and the oil up. But even like, you can see back here, the Teflon that we put on years ago, it still looks good. It's a good sign. But when I clean, I normally clean all the little fitting connections, everything. That way, when I pressurize it right now, leave it on pressure, we know where it stands and how it's gonna, that way we know there's no oil in there. That way when we lock it up, if we see any type of little oil marks or even wetness, we know that it's new. It's not something old. For the setup being as old as it is, it looks really, really good. It's still in good shape. As you can see, I mean, it went up. The batteries are obviously dead from, I said, about 2 years now. It hasn't moved. So that's really the least of his worries. You want to make sure the good hardware stuff, or the expensive hardware stuff, is the one that's not malfunctioning on you. And it went up and the function good. So battery voltage was good. I did check that before we installed the batteries. So now, I'm just gonna kind of cut off a little piece of Scotch-Brite. Got me a 7/8 here. Gonna be checking these swivels. I saw they looked a little loose earlier. Yeah, just a snug, just enough to cause it to leak, just a little. There we go. I'll light back up again. Now, double check this side. This one doesn't look like it's leaking, but just in case. Yep, that one's tight. So pretty much everything's cleaned up here. Checked all the leaks. Everything was just, I mean, there's a few things that are somewhat loose. And obviously over 7 years, it caused a little bit of like moisture looking on the pump. But he didn't have any major leaks. There was no like oil puddles. And for 7 years, no oil puddles, I think that's pretty impressive. Just gonna come up now and just do a final wipe down and wipe the car down and do a final test and put it up on pressure. As long as we leave it up on pressure for a few hours, if you don't see any leaks on any of these fittings, which I highly doubt we will, just because everything looks so clean still, then we're pretty much ready for delivery, and it's on to the next one. But we'll see how the pressure check does. So guys, there you go. It's all done. 59's finished. It came in. It was a little rough, but it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful 59. Hugo's had this car for a while now. Again, we did this I think like 6 or 7 years ago. I think he's told me. I don't know the exact date on it, but it's been fully functional until the last 2 years. Then it sat for a while. Unfortunately, it was in a little accident, a little fender bender. And well, luckily, he's back on it right now. Regardless of the tough times he went through and everything he went through, he kept the car, and I'm glad he did because this thing is freaking beautiful. It's one of my all-time favorite 59s by far. Just the color combo, the cleanliness, the way it lays out. I mean, I'm a sucker for 58, 59s that you guys know, and this is the perfect reason why. It's beautiful. So now all we got left is pretty much just clean it up, wipe it up, wait for him to pick it up, call it a day. Everything went good. We swapped out the batteries, checked his wiring, we fixed his front shock mount, adjusted the front shock mount, cleaned up all that section, and then in the back side we just pretty much, again, new batteries, wiring check for leaks, clean up the pump. It's been 7 years, it still looked good. It just needed just a little bit of TLC, and other than that, it flowed easy. So now it's just the final wipe down, and she's out of here. So thank you guys. You guys know what to do at this point. Like, share, subscribe. If you guys don't subscribe, make sure you guys subscribe. I have a whole bunch of more videos that are already planned that I'm already working on right now. This one took a little longer just because we got busy, but I'm still going to get this one uploaded hopefully today or tomorrow. And you guys will have some more content for all your lowrider needs. So for all the guys that follow me, thank you guys for all the continued support on the page. Thank you for that. And I hope you guys have a good one. www.hopsonline.com. Don't forget this Friday, actually Friday the 13th, I believe it is, right? Friday the 13th, our 12 days of Christmas sale does begin. So make sure you guys jump on it and make sure you guys get those savings. I mean, that's pretty much how simple it is. 10% off of all orders. So you guys have a good one.